Man, you want to make yourself depressed. Try to find coffee, just a cup of coffee, in Khao Lak at 6 in the morning on a Sunday morning in the monsoon in the time of COVID. I finally found a grocery store, and this is my breakfast for about 120 baht. Yeah, depressing. I'm sitting in the hot springs and I'm thinking, because a bunch of Thai people just left. You know what I never used to see in Thailand? Fat people. And I try not to be judgy. I try not to assume things about people. I know that I am overweight. I've had many friends and lovers and relatives in my life who have had a body mass index above what the insurance companies would call ideal. But it's just a concrete observation, all judgment aside, that 25, 30 years ago, everybody here was skinny. Everybody. And now you see as many fat people as you would see in Minneapolis. And here in the South, because it is predominantly Muslim, at least in my little strip of the South here, there's a lot of fried chicken for sale. You know, that's why you see KFC all over the Muslim world. It's halal. So there's fried chicken and sticky rice every 10 feet, and fried chicken for breakfast, lunch, and dinner is not a slimming diet. But even so, like I said, you look at the temple art from 200 years ago, 300 years ago, everybody in the paintings is skinny. Prat Ram is not fat. You can see Hotai, you know, he's the Taoist god, the big fat guy you see outside Chinese restaurants. He's not a Buddha. He was a bodhisattva of the Buddha, but that was only to draw Taoists into the faith. He was not originally any representation of the Buddha, because the Buddha lived on 1 grain of rice a day. The Buddha was never fat, but Hotai was fat. But that was calculated. He ate himself into obesity intentionally because he was the most beautiful young man in the province and women would not leave him alone. So he couldn't get his meditation accomplished. So he ate and ate and ate until he was big and fat and women would leave him alone and he could improve his nirvana experience. And that's why rich people like him. He is an object lesson that you can be non-materialist and still be a wealthy guy and drive a Benz, because Hotai did it. But he did it specifically as part of his journey to nirvana. He did not just eat, you know, to live. He did not indulge for selfish reasons, or so the legend goes. My point is, everybody used to be skinny here, and now you see a lot of overweight people here. And part of that, I think, is the fried chicken, but also part that you can buy food every 10 feet in Thailand, wherever you are. And in a little town like this, where COVID has taken away the work from most of the few resorts that were in this neighborhood, and we've never been able to grow rice. In the South, we grow pineapple and coconut and rubber, very low profit crops. And so there haven't been restaurants and hotels buying the pineapple or the coconut, so they've stopped production of that, and people are out of work. So what do? You set up a card table in your front lawn, and Grandma always had the most popular recipe for kanom jin. So you get a big pot of kanom jin out there, and in the mornings for a couple hours you sell some breakfast. And so in the Chuang COVID, one of the few industries that has survived and thrived has been street food. So you can eat every 10 feet, and it's dirt cheap, 10 baht, 20 baht, even the farang price, 30 baht, 40 baht. You can eat all day and not go broke. And I think that that has led to a generation of people who do eat all day. They don't wait till they're hungry. There's a lot of emotional eating, I think, probably going on. People feel insecure. They comfort themselves with a snack. And there you have it. There, it's probably a lot harder to get 6 school kids on a motorcycle these days when 2 of those kids are 200 pounds plus. But there's nothing I can do about it. And it's my sai ryang farang. I can't even talk about it except in this venue. So this week I'm talking about food, obviously. And here in Turtle Beach, there's a lot of Thai food, as you would expect. Like I said, a lot of street food, a lot of restaurants. There's a sushi place even. There's a great Isan place. Every village and town in the south has one really good Isan place. There's all kinds of Thai food, which is fantastic. But, and I will admit this to you, every Farang, me included, every now and then joneses for some Farang food. In Turtle Beach, those outlets are very few and far between. I have found two sources of Farang food in Turtle Beach. One is the Jim Pha Lale coffee shop, which will sell you a chicken sandwich, a hamburger sandwich, and a pork sandwich with French fries and a funny little Thai version of a Western salad. And that's about it. There's another place called the Isa Steakhouse, which serves very, very good steaks. I don't know where they get their steaks, but their cuts of meat are excellent. I come from a farm state. I come from Iowa. We do food really well. And this is real good meat. I don't know where he gets it. He's struggling like everybody else. He hardly ever has anybody in his restaurant, but he's always got a freezer full of, or not a freezer, but an ice chest full of ice and good steaks. So I've had the filet mignon there, and it's very good. He also does Thai dishes very well. Had the khao man gai there last night. Very delicious. He makes his own sauce, his own ginger sauce, and it's wonderful. And that's it. That's your 2 choices in Turtle Beach for Farang food. And they're both closed at 8 o'clock at night. And so I've gone farther afield for this video. There is a stretch of beach below us. As I have said, Turtle Beach is 13 kilometers of absolutely undeveloped beach. There's nothing allowed to be on it because it's a turtle sanctuary, thus the name. But south of us, the beach goes on and on and on, as it does all the way to Indonesia. And there are the usual big resorts that have purchased big tracts of land on the water and don't allow anybody who's not a guest to come on the beach. But they have food and beverage outlets that do Farang food. So this week I went and did a survey. I went down the beach, resort to resort. Some are closed completely, boarded up, empty of staff. Some have staff but no guests. Some have staff and intermittent guests. And some, well, one in particular, courted the Thai market 2 years ago and adjusted the prices accordingly. And of course that means Farang price and Thai price. That's what it is. There's no, don't get nuts in the comment section. That's the way it is, dude. And they priced themselves into a market of Thai travelers, which at least kept the staff on their toes, kept the rooms air conditioned so they didn't get mildew, kept the food and beverage outlet going. And those places, I've done a survey, I've gone and bought a hamburger at each one of those places. And we'll see how they all stack up. A hamburger because I wanted to eat the same thing at each place, and I'm an American. Thus, a hamburger. You cannot fault my logic. What else? Well, this water is really hot, and I am becoming Farang soup. So I'm going to get out of this hot water and let you go back to watching something interesting on my channel. Thank you. There is nothing better. Than an hour in the hot springs, 20 minutes driving home on the bike through the rubber plantations, and then a shower in your own backyard. Let me tell you a couple jokes about food. So Abby and Rose are having dinner one night, and as it's Thursday night, they're having Rose's famous brisket. Halfway through the meal, she says, Abe, don't you love me anymore? He says, Rose, what are you talking? Of course I love you. She says, really? Because I've noticed something. He says, what? What'd you notice? She says, I've noticed that 40 years ago, when we first got married, you used to give me the bigger piece of brisket and serve yourself the smaller piece. Now, after 40 years of marriage, you keep the bigger piece for yourself and you give me the smaller piece. She said, you see, Amy, I think you don't love me. He says, Rose, of course I love you. You're just a much better cook now than you were 40 years ago. So another little old Jewish man was having stomach pains. He went to the doctor, and the doctor diagnosed an ulcer. He said, the best thing for that is mother's milk. The old Jewish man said, mother's milk? Where am I going to get mother's milk? The doctor says, well, I happen to have a patient. She's a young woman who just had a baby. She's producing more milk than her baby can consume, and she would love to sell some of the milk she's expressing. It's very painful for a woman. The old man said, well, all right, I'll go. The doctor says, okay, but listen, she's a naturalist. She doesn't believe in expressing into jars. You're going to have to suckle at her breasts. The old man said, well, listen, if it makes my stomach feel better, I'll do it. Anything to make my stomach feel better. So he gets the woman's contacts, he calls her up, he makes an appointment. He shows up on the appointed day at the appointed hour. The door opens, and there is a beautiful young woman standing there. She's about 20 years old, blonde, blue eyes, great, big, beautiful breasts that are swollen and gorged with milk. And she says, oh, thank God you're here. She says, it's so painful. Please, please come in and help me. So they go inside. They sit down on the sofa. She opens her blouse. She exposes her great, big, beautiful breasts. And the old man starts to suckle on the left nipple. And she says, oh, yes. Oh, thank you. Oh, God, it feels so good. But after a minute, the old man goes, She says, why? What's wrong? He says, nothing, don't worry. So he goes back to suckling, this time on the right breast. And after a minute of her going, oh, yes, oh, please suck my breast. Please, it feels so good. He goes, She says, what? What is it? He says, well, who offers a glass of milk and doesn't offer a couple cookies, a piece cake? Some of us are never satisfied. But that was an excellent shower. Good evening. My name is Steve Rosse, and this is the news from Turtle Beach. Well, it's the last week in June, so if you live on Phuket, your week has been all about yacht racing. The people of Turtle Beach think boats are just a way to risk your life to feed your family. And I'm from Iowa, where nobody has ever seen a boat, so we won't be talking about Yacht Week. Let's check in with our man on the street, Steve Rosse. Steve, are you there? Thanks for that, Steve. Well, it's 8 o'clock on a Friday night. I'm standing in the middle of Main Street, and no, there's nothing happening at the moment. I see. So nothing happening on Main Street.
Our roving reporter, Steve Rosse, is somewhere on the edge of town. Steve, what's happening out there?
I don't really know where I am, Steve, but there's nothing going on here. No.
It sounds like a quiet day on Turtle Beach. Our business reporter, Steve Rosse, is here with a report on the local economy. Is it bulls or bears, Steve?
There's nothing going on at the deserted Longtail Boat Factory. This place has been shut down for years. Nothing happening here in the electric supply store, Steve. Well, Steve, there's nothing happening in the chicken fighting arena today. No chickens fighting today. Nothing happening at the paint store, Steve. Not a thing. Well, there's nothing happening here in the coconut plantation, boss. Nothing happening here in the rubber plantation. Yeah, nothing happening here at the lake, Steve. Hi, Steve. I can report there's nothing happening at the provincial waterworks. There's nothing going on here in the cow pasture today, Steve. There's not even cows in the cow pasture today. There's not a thing going on here at the turtle hatchery, Steve. No, I'm afraid there's nothing happening here on the pier, Steve. There's nothing happening here at the Stairway to Nowhere, Steve. Nothing happening here on the beach, Steve.
So the picture I'm getting is that there is not much happening on Turtle Beach. Our social gadfly, Steve Rosse, may be able to find something happening in the world of arts and letters. Steve, are you there?
Nothing happening in the public library. There is not a damn thing happening in the hot springs. But they're really, really hot.
Okay, I give up. Listen, is anybody out there able to find anything happening on Turtle Beach? Anybody? Anything?
Well, Steve, it has been raining here, but now it seems to have stopped.
That's it? It's raining?
Dude, it's the best I could come up with. You said you wanted something happening. It was raining, now it stopped.
You suck at this, dude.
Yeah, we're going to have a conversation about this when I get back to the office. Me and you.
I look forward to it. Thanks for the insightful commentary, Steve. Well, this has been the news from Turtle Beach. Tune in next week when our technology reporter, Steve Rosse, finds the oldest motorcycle still being used on Turtle Beach. Wait a minute. I'm getting word that Steve Rosse, our roving reporter, has a report. He's found something happening. Steve, are you there?
No idea. No idea what's happening here, Steve. But something's definitely happening here.
Well, there you go. Something is happening on Turtle Beach. We don't know what it is, but it definitely happened. Thanks for watching. This has been the news from Turtle Beach.
I just never, ever, ever get tired of it. Never, ever, ever.